Hi guys and welcome, this is Michael from the Board Games Chronicle. Today I have for you another game to present. Today I have a second game in the Limits of Glory series. This time we will be talking about Maida 1806 by Andrew Rourke. The second game in the series because we already had the first one, which was Limits of Glory, Campaign 1, Bonaparte's Eastern Empire, also by Andrew Rourke. Both games tell the story of the Napoleonic times. This is mainly about the Bonaparte's, attack on Egypt and his campaign there. Here we would have a very interesting, situation in the Sicily and nearby Naples. So I'm really glad that the series continues, and I really like it as a pretty straightforward, light, a bit of dice chuckler war game. So we'll leave it for now. There will be a link where you can find the details of Bonaparte's Eastern Empire, below this video in the comments. And today we will focus on Maida. What kind of campaign is it? What type of history it tells? And I believe one of the most important things for me is that I'm getting a lot of fun from the games which tell me something which I don't know. So this is actually end of the third coalition, which was fighting with the Napoleon, and they were crushed totally on land at Austerlitz. Total victory. However, the British money, the British gold, was keeping the war alive. And actually what was happening at the end of 1805 is that the French were crushing the Naples. They have not yet conquered it, but they almost conquered it, the kingdom of two Sicilies. And the British decided we will intervene and at least here do some troubles for our dear French. They sent a combined army of British and Russian forces, 15,000 people, and they will be trying to defend the Naples kingdom from the French onslaught. Let's look at the box. It's pretty nice, sturdy. By the way, it keeps similar format as we had in the first campaign. At the back of the game, we will see the map and also the components and the information. The game is, by the way, published by Form Square Games. This is not a huge, let's say, volume of games which were published, but they are really cool and really interesting. So I hope that with this video I'm also creating some kind of interest in this. Let's see what's inside, and remember, those unboxing and overview videos are not purely looking at the beautiful components. Nowadays games usually have very nice components, but also telling a bit about the system of the game so you can learn more. So let's look at the rulebook. Rulebook is here. Just like in the first campaign, the rulebook will have a lot of very nice and interesting pictures from the times it tells us about. A lot of, I believe, actually French pictures here, which could be really, really cool. So we are getting some information about Maida and historical, background, scale, what the definitions, and then immediately all the components. We will be telling you about the components, showing to them, but I really like that immediately on the almost first page you have nicely depicted the setup. So where you put the player map, where you have the I would say coalition forces, so French, not French, of course, British, Russian, Neapolitan, and so on. And here you have the side of the French player. Usually you sit here with a coalition player and here as a French player. You will have a random events which can happen, and you will have interesting way of resolving the combats too. The instruction is not overly complex, and as you can see, it is written with a large font, which really helps reading. This is the setup. It tells us how do we set up this. Here we have how to win, although this is, let's say, an extended version of explaining how to win. We have a very nice abbreviated way also done here. victory conditions, just with one explanation. So French will win the game before end of the game if they control Geta. You will see on the map this very important fortress and have more VPs. The Allied will win the victory if they have VP score of 24 or higher at the end of any turn while 4 dice are being rolled to decide the event. It's at the end of a game almost. So they need to conquer one city and have more VPs than the allied player. They need to have a lot of points, and at the end of the game they will win. There is also a possibility for partial victory if no total victory is achieved when the Napoleon will call off the invasion. The player with the most VPs will simply win. If both players scores the exact same amount of VPs when Napoleon calls off the invasion, the player that controls Geta wins the game. Pretty straightforward conditions and very easily visible on the map too. The game mechanism, which is here, and I will also show this on the map, I would say goes around this limits of glory approach. You will have a lot of dice rolling here, and in order to do some actions you need to have success on them. The success is 5 or 6, and depending on the terrain you will have less or more dice to roll, and depending on your leaders you will be able to reroll some of the rolls and get the successes. So there's a lot of rolling, which means, guys, if there's a lot of rolling, this is not luck-prone game. If you have a few rolls in the game, it will be very luck-prone game. But if you have a lot of dice rolling, it simply means that you have probabilistic, distribution. Commanders will also have a glory. We'll be rolling for them to see how much glory they have. For example, this guy will have 3 plus 3d6, and those glories will be used later on for various dice rerolls. The movement, you simply check how many dice you roll and if you can do the movement. I will not be telling you everything about the instruction. There's a conquest phase with the events. There will be movement, there will be combat, of course, with very interesting, combat resolution table. How the naval part moves and fights. There could be some uprisings also and sieges. And I believe we will also have victory conditions here. This is the front and reverse medal of Maida, issued to British soldiers who fought at those battles. And then you have also the description of the events, because they can be really interesting, also for you. So this is the rule book. The actual rules are, I would say, 20 pages with a lot of examples and with a big font. So it's not very intense, rules intense game. Now here we have some of further components. So let me just put them here. The game will come with many optional components, like you can track your victory points with counters or with maples, and the dice used by both sides are of course in particular colors. This will be the French, this will be Allied, and you will have also momentum markers and so on and so forth. As I said, I will not go through each and every detail, otherwise we would spend here much longer time that I devoted for this unboxing. So very nice elements, wooden ones. Then we have the counters, and in order to open the counters I need my opener. Here it is. Yep, and as I said, there will be counters which reflect the forces, but there will be also counters which can be replaced by the wooden pieces, which I was just showing to you. Okay, so let's look at the counters. There is one sheet second sheet, third, and fourth. So what do we have here? For example, we can see, I believe these are the Russian generals. This will be the uprisings, and this will be additional events. Here we have already 3 British. Here are the barges, yeah, for the naval transport. Okay. Here we have more British. I like the depiction of them. Yeah. Here we have some of our ships, forces, and also here the crew. Here we start with French already, and you see, you can use for the momentum either those maples or maybe those counters. This will be the Naples, guys. These are still the events, yeah, crew for the ships, and even more of the units. And you see, there are always 2 counters for the generals. One you keep on the map, and the other you use to track their glory in order to show how much glory they have left. If it goes to 0, I believe they will become exhausted. So I will need to punch out all the stuff. Now we have French command charts. It shows us 2 things. First thing, and of course, Allied command chart. First thing, who is, the leader and managing whom. Yeah, this is very important. For example, if Verdier is moving, he is automatically moving with PV. However, if we detach him, he will of course move on his own. Those dice rolls numbers shows us the glory which particular unit has. The glory is their skills plus their luck. Yes, also their luck. And what we see here, that for example, yeah, I don't know, Massena will have 26 plus the 6 4 times rolled. For the I don't know, British, you would have, for example, Craig 3d6. This is what he will have. It's cool because you don't have predefined numbers. The differences are not huge because if you roll 3d6, you have some, distribution of those results. But still, it changes from game to game, and it also shows who is, managing whom, who is commanding whom. Then we have the events table. Yeah, depending on the phase of a game, we will be rolling on the particular, line. And this is the combat resolution table, which works in a pretty interesting way because you look for your strength, total strength. For example, if you are French and have strength of 11, you will look here. And if you are British, let's say you are guerrilla commander and your strength is 10. So you look here. And then, you see the combat rolls depending on the, this combination. There are different values, of course, of the units. Here it is: infantry, cavalry, artillery. These are build-up areas, BUA, naval things, and so on. Then the victory, you will simply inflict more hits, and yeah, this is pretty nicely depicting also the difference in quality of the units. I believe this is cool. Last but not least, we need to show you the beautiful map. Just like in the Bonaparte's Eastern Empire, also here we are getting a really nice map and really beautiful. It has even the back, nicely done. You may see here from Square Games. And here is the map. This is not a huge map, this is just enough to have all the stuff depicted. So the allied player will sit rather on this side, the French on this side. Here's our limit of glory track, which has numbers up to 40. And you will be tracking here not only victory points, but also tracking the glory of a particular generals. Here we have French reinforcements. On the map you have those numbers which I was telling you about. For example, if you do the move from here to here, you roll 2 die and you need to have 5 or 6 in order to succeed. If you haven't succeeded, you have still glory of your commanders who can re-roll, and of course use this glory. Geta is here, so this is the place very important for French to win the game. And of course we have Sicily here. French should actually conquest majority of mainland Italy here depicted, and also invade the Sicily. We can see that the build-up areas have both the siege value but also the victory points, and as we can see in Reggio, 4 in blue, that means it's worth 4 victory points for the French, and 2 in green, that means it's 2 victory points for allies. Syracuse, the other way around, 3 for French, 4 for the allies. So this is also important that those are not symmetrical, areas. Some of them are more important for one side, some for the other. Palermo is very, very important, yeah, also like 12 points switch. It also takes into account that for you to win, you not only need to prevent the opponent from winning, so decrease his victory points, but also gain enough on your side. That will be all for today, guys. I don't want, this short and brief unboxing to be too long. I prefer to do some kind of how to play, which will help you with potentially understanding more about the game. That was an unboxing and overview in which we told about Maida 1806, battle for Sicily and for the Kingdom of Naples during the Napoleonic Wars. A beautifully produced, very interesting game, and a light war game which introduced subject not so known to many of the historical war gamers, for which I'm also very thankful to Andrew, because I really like to explore those less known aspects of the history. We all know battles of Austerlitz, Battle of Waterloo, and so on, but who of you heard about Maida? It's not so popular, so that is why I'm really glad that I can learn about it. That's all for today, guys. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching. If you found it interesting, please give thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like that, kindly please subscribe. Click the subscribe button just below this video. Also, if you'd like to comment, express your opinion, or ask for something, use the comment section down below. That's all for today. Thank you and bye.